Well, hey everybody. Hi, it's Becky from Power Tools with Thread. And today we are going to work on block 19, week 19 of the Brightly Sampler. And I am doing the Kaleidoscope block this month. Hello again, everybody. Hello again. Good to see you guys from the Situation Room this morning. As you can tell by the camera angle, I'm still having issues with my camera, my stand-up camera on my big Sony. I can't get them to connect to my laptop for some reason. I've switched out cables and cords. My frustration level is pretty high, so I'm having to bring myself back down because I want this to be a good experience for you guys. But so I'm just as needed. I'll just point that like that and you'll see what I'm doing and I'll just talk to you here. Okay. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up. And if you are new here, please let us know. I hope that you can join in. I've got links below to all of the stuff that I am working on today. And even if you're not doing this quilt along with me, hopefully you'll pick up some tips and tricks on accurate piecing, because I do like to talk through what I'm doing when I'm piecing a quilt. So as I said, this is week 19. Can you believe it, you guys? Week 19. Here's the Brightly Sampler right here. Babe, I don't have that printout. So, well, I'm going to be busy for an hour. So, okay. Yeah, about an hour. Yep. So this is the Brightly Sampler right here, kind of behind my arm there on my lights for my long arm. And we've got one spot right here that needs to be filled. And then, hi, Renata. And then another spot right here that needs to be filled. Okay. So we're getting really close. And then the following week, we are going to be doing the sashing and the cornerstones to finish this up. So, and if you watch this channel and you don't catch Situation Room normally comes on at 7 a.m. Central, and starting May 1st, I'm moving to 8 a.m. Central. And that is to allow my granddaughter in Mountain Time a little bit so she can join me some more, because getting up, it's a little early for her. She's only 11. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that. So we will be starting the Situation Room at 8. And that means next week, we are going to be on at 10. So I'm backing everything up 1 hour, just FYI. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the Kaleidoscope block, as I've mentioned every week. So this quilt right here was put together by Shirley Scott from our Facebook group, and she gave me permission to use this. I have a blog post to show where this is. You just go to my blog and type in Brightly Sampler in the search, and this will come up. And I also have the schedule that we're working on, and we're all the way down here. 25, we have the Kaleidoscope block. So that's cool. And the Kaleidoscope block is on page 12 of the Family Favorites book by Sherry and Chelsea. Okay. Gosh, it's good seeing all you regulars here. I appreciate that so much. We have a good time hanging out in here. I'm an awesome grandma. I hope she thinks so. I know all my peeps on the Mountain and Pacific Time are very happy about that. So, all righty. So this morning, what I need to do is to get all my pieces. I have them here on a design board, A through F. And so I've got 2 letter A, 8 letter B, 2 letter C, 4 D, 4 E, and 1 F. And we're going to put all these together. So first things first, looking at the pattern. All right, y'all. I need the D's to go on. I need 2 D's to go on letter F. We're going to put 4 D's. We're going to make a square and a square. So I'm going to do everything right here so you guys can see it. Now, one of the things I talk about when I am doing quilting is I talk about, somebody sent me a little wall hanging, maintain the integrity of the base shape. Okay. Maintain the integrity of the base shape. What does that mean? What that means is we're going to make a square and a square. So my base shape is this block, letter F. I'm going to be adding, well, how do I know which one is the base shape? The base shape is the one you're adding fabric to in order to change the, you'll still have the same shape when you're done. It's just going to be different color fabrics. So these are going to be cut. This is not the base shape. This is the base shape. Maintain the integrity of the base shape. Yep, that's all you can hear on the points. It matters so much that you think about that while you're doing this, okay? So that when we finish, like this piece right here is 6.5 square. When we finish doing the points, it should still be exactly 6.5 inches square. It's just going to be different fabrics all in one piece. So that's maintaining the integrity of the base shape. T from Texas, she says it helps so much. It does. When you think about it that way, and I'll show you what you're looking for quickly as we go through this, okay? Sorry, y'all. And that's a political call I don't want to hear from. I should have put my phone on mute. My bad. All right. So in order to make a square and a square, I need to draw a diagonal line from corner to corner. And there's all these little different concepts that matter here. Let me turn on my iron. This is a 3-tier cart. It's in my Amazon store. This is an Oliso M3 Pro iron, project iron. I absolutely love it. If it's up on its end, it stays on for 30 minutes. And that's really about enough time to do a block. Okay. So let me set this down here. Give myself some extra room so I don't have 2 pieces. And then I have an Oliso mat on here, but this is a Steady Betty that I put on top of the cart. They also make wooden covers for these carts at, like, they have them at Michael's and IKEA and that type of thing. So I just have a couple of ironing surfaces on it. All right. When you are making a square and a square, when you're doing sew and flip points, that works. So square and a square, flying geese, whatever. Okay. I'm going to put my ruler corner to corner, and then I'm going to draw right next to the ruler. Now, if the ruler's corner to corner, then the line is not. The line is right next to corner to corner. That's right. Elaine, she knows it. If the ruler's corner to corner, then the line is not. The line is right next to it. That means one side of the line is smaller than the other one. And that side, the small side, is the one that's going to be cut off. So because that one's going to be cut off, I'm going to put a little mark on it. So all you have to do is remember, put your ruler corner to corner, draw your line, and make a mark. You don't have to go into thinking about which side is smaller, because your mark is going to tell you, and it's really easy. It's the one that's hanging out from underneath the ruler. But if you look at it and you didn't see the little mark, it's very easy to make a mistake of which side is smaller. Very easy, especially when you're doing a whole bunch of them at one time. For instance, today I was using my Stripology ruler to cut a whole bunch of 2-inch squares for the Fat Quarter Shop's Mystery Designer Block of the Month. And I have to create, because it's all flying geese, so I have to create lines on the back of those. And when you have a whole big stack of them, it's very easy to get them turned around and mixed up. So my marker has seen better days, you guys. I think it's about ready to give up the ghost. I think it is. Do I have a pencil in here or something? Let me see. I got a white pencil. I have an ink pen. Ink pen will work. I'll just make a mark here. I make sure I can see it. Yeah. I'm not going to draw with ink. I'm just going to mark with ink. But those concepts, this marking pen, Sharon, is a friction fine liner marker. And I like the fine liner because you're going to sew on the line. Okay. And if you've got a really wide line, sometimes it's difficult to see your line. You don't want to sew on the wrong side of a fat line. You know what I mean? I'm going to need to get another marker here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this going. Now, so I'm going to take, here again is a concept in maintain the integrity of the base shape. So I'm going to take the part that has the little mark on it. Remember, that's the side that's going to be cut off. And I'm going to put it up in the corner of my block. Now, to maintain the integrity of the base shape, when you layer your fabrics like this, I should not see any yellow over the edge. I'm sorry, I should not see any of the green over the edge of the yellow fabric, and I should not see any yellow over the edge of the green fabric. You don't want this. That's going to cause you a problem. Okay, so to maintain the integrity of the base shape, you need it on there exactly. Match the point, match the corner, and match the corner. And then you've got it right. And if you need to pin, you can. And again, you want the part with the mark to the outside. Okay, because it's smaller than the other half, and that space matters. So I'm going to sew on the line. And I'm going to do the same thing, and I don't have to worry about which is which because I put the little mark on there. And I'm going to do the same thing to this one. This process is going to completely change the accuracy of your quilt piecing for the better. I promise. I promise. Now, because I sewed on the line and the line was right next to corner, oh my goodness, you guys. Excuse me, let me turn that there. I put my phone on mute. My apologies. It's Monday, right? Okay, so because we sewed on the line, which is actually on the smaller side of that triangle, you now have the space for this inner point to fold up and match the other point exactly. And in garment sewing, that space is called turn of cloth. So now you have the turn of cloth room to fold this and have it match exactly without torquing it. If you have to pull, sometimes it'll end up like that. That means you sewed the wrong side. And you don't want it to end up like that. You maintain the integrity of the base shape. Now you have to do opposite corners when you're making square and a square. So you do top and bottom, okay? My husband has to go down to the county office about our taxes, property taxes. He needs a letter from them because I can't get Rocket Mortgage to change our escrow. It's driving me crazy. And I'm going to do the other one. Okay. And it fits exactly. So you're working on a Joanna Figueroa block of the month, Lynn. I love her stuff. What a sweet lady too. I met her at Market last year and the year before. Very nice lady. Okay. So take a look now. They meet exactly. I have the room and there's no torquing. Not twerking, torquing. And I'm just going to trim this. If you want, you can go ahead and sew half an inch away from this seam line right here. If you sew half an inch away and then cut in between the two seam lines, you'll have yourself another set of half square triangles that you can keep for another project. I don't have the bandwidth for that, so I'm not going to bother with it. Okay. So I started with 6.5. I should still have 6.5. And if I put this like this, it's still 6.5. And that's what you're looking for. Be sure to use the ruler that's on your quilting tables. Your machines have them. I know they do. Or if they don't, you might have a So Steady table. Definitely use those. That's there for a reason, and that can keep you on track. So see, I've got my mark on here. I know the part with the mark is the short side, and it's going to be cut off. I'm going to set these exactly. Okay. And then this one. Yeah, I just cut 64 2-inch squares, and all of them are going to have to be marked. I wish there was an easy way to do that. But the best way to do it is to take yourself a little design board and a marker and go sit in front of the TV with your ruler, you know. That's the easiest way to do that. Is Nancy new? Hi, Nancy. Thank you for joining us. My welcoming committee, the Sunshine Committee, is doing their thing. Let's see here. All right. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. All right. So once again, now, because I'm doing this way, let me finish this and I'll show you the final result, because I did the exact same thing I did the first 2 times. Put this on here. Use of a clapper is fairly new in the quilting world. So it's just a nice way. It gives there's some magic that happens with the heat between the natural fibers of the fabric and the natural fiber of the wood. Okay, cut this off now. This is such a pretty block. I think it's probably my favorite one of the quilt. And we did the same block 4 times. We've got 5 different blocks. This is our last go of the Kaleidoscope. Now look at my perfect 1/4 inch seam there at the top and on the sides and the bottom. Really important to maintain the integrity of the base shape. And that is going to give you those perfect 1/4 inch seams. Love that. Hi, Jerry. Glad you're here. So I'm going to, they're exactly 6.5 all the way around. Measure, measure, measure. Okay. Good to go on this. Next, I need a diagonal line on the wrong side of fabric A, and then layer it with fabric C and stitch a 1/4 of an inch away from each side. Not a fan of that method. Okay. So I'm going to take fabric A, which is the white, make sure it's right side up, and fabric C. The problem with doing that method that they're talking about is that a 1/4 of an inch away from the line is subjective. Not a fan. So then you would really have to draw 3 lines to make sure you get it right. So that you've got your center line and then the 2 lines that you sew on, because we're making half square triangles here. So my preferred method is one of these 1/4 inch seam rulers. And I'm going to put the center of the ruler on the corners. And just draw on each side of that. I'm going to be really careful and spin it. I finished cutting this morning the Fat Quarter Shop's Mystery Designer Block of the Month, and I finished it doing using my Stripology ruler. Oh my gosh, y'all! I was done in like 7 minutes. I was finished cutting. I've got to become a convert of that. So I will be doing the cutting for the sashing and all of that and the cornerstones using the Stripology ruler. So just FYI, I've got the big one. Okay, let me do this. I need new pen. So, okay. So now I'm going to just sew on each side of this line, on each one of these lines. And I'm going to do a continuous, both of them at the same time. Flip it around. All right. And now cut these in half. You can use a rotary cutter or your scissors, whichever you prefer. Because we need a total of 4 of these. Now you got to trim these down to a certain size. I need to look at that, make sure I'm doing it right. And there's a couple of different ways you can do that. And you do whichever way works for you, okay? So now it says trim them down to 3.5 inches square. A couple of different ways you can do it. You can take a little mat and you can get, this is clearly slotted perfect trimmers. I don't have my other one here. Whoops. You might have a multi-trimmer size ruler, okay? There's all, this was from Created Grids. You might have one of these, all different rulers you can use to do that. So I'm going to do the clearly perfect slotted trimmer first. What's this one? Folded corner clipper. You can do this one. I don't know that I've played with this. I got all these little rulers. So 3.5. This one's pretty cool. It has a gray, and you can see the stitch line right there, 3.5. So you just take this and put the 3.5 inch seam, dotted seam line on the ruler on the dotted seam of the block. And then you take your rotary cutter and you go like that and like this. This way's fine. My issue with this is, what if you press it open and you change the size? You can also cut your little dog ears, which I didn't do. But if I press this open, and I worry about that because this, Barb, on the Firm Foundation Ohio Star blocks, where it says to cut whatever, yeah, 1/4 inch larger, whatever size they said to cut. I cut mine 1/4 inch larger. It just gives you a little hair of wiggle room to make sure that you can trim them properly. Well, Sandy, if you're making this quilt with me, you're going to get to practice with that Stripology ruler because we're going to use that for our sashing. All right. So let's check if this is 3.5, the way I pressed it. So I'm just going to take this other ruler here and get it. And so here's my beef. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know that I pressed it right, but I don't know if you can tell Y'all, that this matters. It really does. I can see space between the fabric and the white line right there. You see that little bit of space? That matters. That's why I'm not a fan of trimming blocks while they're still folded. They need to be pressed open and then trimmed. Now it's too short. I'll make it work. I know, Celia, some people love that. Now the folded corner clipper, there's another one. Let's try that one. There's the folded corner clipper. We'll try that one too. Okay. Let me put this down here. And I need to put this right on the line, right? I know this is where this goes. Put this on here, back that up. Okay, I'm putting my folded corner clipper. Okay. So there's that. See that? Should be 3.5. Okay. Should be. So they say, cut the dog ears. Trim that down. Okay. And when I press it open, it should be a 3.5-inch block. Okay. Should be. I don't know. Hi, Colleen. She says, hi, everyone. I'm here. Okay. So is this a 3.5-inch block? These are all creative grids, right? Or that one is. So I should be 3.5 here. Pretty close. That one's pretty good. I think. I don't know. No. So I'm right on it on the edge, but look, I've got gap. You guys see that? I mean, it's really close. It's about the same as the other one. Okay, so now that's the only thing. I'm like, I worry about that, right? Okay, so now I'm going to press this open first. I do have a 3.5-inch trimmer for that. Looks good. Everybody's saying looks great. Yeah. Yeah, that folded corner clipper, I like that better than the other one. That's just me personally. I'm not knocking it. It's a good product. That's just me personally. Okay. So I've got this pressed open now. And let's go to 3.5 on one side. So you put the diagonal line right down the center. Get to the 3.5. Right? And I end up having to center this between the excess. And I think that this is okay. It is. All right. Don't be crooked. Okay. And then put the diagonal line back on it and then measure it exactly from this direction. And now I can see exactly, my lines are right on the edge of the fabric. My diagonal line is exactly on. Takes an extra time, a little more time, but I know for a fact that it's straight. I'm just so picky about that. That's just me, you guys. So now I'm going to put it on 3.5. I got it. Let me turn it this way, where that line is, so I can line it up properly. That would be helpful. Yeah. Okay. So now it's exact. That's just me. I don't know. Okay. We'll do folded corner clipper one more time because I have never used this ruler. I've had it for 100 years and I've never used it. Well, hello, Frito. Okay. I didn't get it exactly at 3.5. I was scared. I didn't get it at 3.5. I left a little bit of extra, y'all. I was scared. All right. I guess you can do flip it around, right? Flip it to the other side. Spent a lot of time doing that today, fiddling around with that. But it's always fun to check out different rulers, right? See what works for you. Okay. Don't you just love doing like 50 of these at a time? All righty. So you don't always have to use the method that they tell you in the book. All right, so those are squared up to 3.5. And now I need my E and my B's. And make some flying geese. You like my little cutting mat? Isn't that cute? That's from Kimberly's Master Color Set. Y'all, I need a pencil or something. I need a different marker. Let me get a different marker out of my bin over here. Yeah, Kimberly's Master Color Set. It was the aqua matte. I think she had a project bag in there and a rotary cutter and I don't know, some other stuff. Oh, and her little, where did it go? It's back here. She had one of those stash and stores too, one of these. Kimberly's Master Color, right? Kimberly's Color. Yeah, this pretty aqua. Beautiful. All right. Things are dinging like crazy here. You know, probably appointment reminders or whatever. So now I've got to put lines on the back of all of these to make these flying geese. So I'm going to put upside down first. Make sure these are all right. Okay. So here we go again with the sew and flip. Much easier to see when your marker works. It's amazing. Much easier to see. So the pool is coming along. There's a big hole in my backyard. And they put the drain in, dug a hole and put that in there. And built the frame for the pool pump equipment. And we had a good rain this weekend, and that put some water in the hole, but it you know, it either sunk right in or evaporated or whatever, because there's nothing in there now. So they tell us we're not going to be done till near the end of June. Oops. Where was I going with that? It's so hard to see this white on white. Well, Becky, why don't you use your mat? That might make your life easier. Yeah. Oh, look. Ta-da! Yeah, you don't move the strips on Stripology. You move the ruler stays put. And you want to do, like when I cut the other direction on the 2-inch squares, 64 2-inch squares I had to cut, you do that mat on a mat. So once you cut it one way, then you just spin the mat and cut it the other way. So you don't have to move things. Very accurate, very fast. I'm going to become a big Stripology convert, I can tell. Okay, there we go. If you use the folded corner clipper before you sew, you don't need to draw lines. That, Lori, I don't understand that at all. If I use the folded corner clipper before I sew, I don't have to draw lines. I'm not sure. My brain isn't wrapping around that. Okay. So I'm just going to make sure that I sew on the same side first every time, just to keep my seam allowances all going one direction or whatever. If you've got patterned fabric and it, you know, it matters to you, make sure they're all going the same way. Figure out what you're going to cut off, what you're going to keep. Okay, so I'm just going to keep these. Uh-oh, this isn't right. What's wrong? These are supposed to be 3.5 by 6.5 inch rectangles. And what are they? 6.5? Are they 3.5? Or is this one short? What's wrong? Something's wrong. That's short. That one is short. Are they all short? I cut wrong, y'all. That one's correct. Does this one just have a short side? That one's not correct. It's 1/8 of an inch short. I just had one that was odd. Okay, I need to cut another one. Cut your corner off before you place on the background and sew 1/4 of an inch away. It works. Okay. Let me see here. All these different methods, you guys. I'm trying to turn this and I'm having trouble. Let me get this up. Oh, I got cords. I've got to cut. So I'm trying to turn my computer. Sorry, you guys. It's a lot easier with this camera because of the base that it's on, but I can't get the camera to connect to the laptop for some reason. Ah! Yep. So I need another 3.5-inch square of the white. Y'all, this is crazy here today. Crazy. Maybe I've got one from another block that I can pilfer. I'm running out of blocks. 3.5-inch white? Nope, I don't. And that's this right here. Not much of this left, but I have plenty. This is just from a fat quarter. All right. Three and a half. Is that it? 1, 2, 3.5. Yep. Okay. Right? 1, 2, 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. Okay. That's strange. Sometimes when you cut multiples, something gets shrunk underneath. So what you're saying, I still don't understand what you guys are talking about. I can't wrap my head around that. Is there a lifespan for a pool? I don't know. Our friend's pool is 30 years old. It's doing fine. Okay. Let's see here now. That makes all the difference. Again, maintain the integrity of the base shape. All right. Let's see here. What am I doing? I think I'm going to do it this way. I sew from the middle out as opposed to the pointed corner in. It's completely up to you, whichever works best for your machine. And then sometimes it just is like, no, I don't want to stick to anything. Okay. All right. Okay. And then on flying geese, you do have to fold and sew and flip before you put on the other corner. So don't get a hair and decide, oh, I'll just throw the other one on, because you can't. You've got to make sure that the first one has a seam right here first. Why do I know that? Oh, they have a YouTube video on that? Okay. I'll have to look at that. I've never seen that. It's so funny. People try to tell me all this fancy stuff. And I say, I'm a potato and egg taco kind of girl. I'm very simple and I like things simple. It's hard for me to wrap my head around stuff sometimes. Really? If it's used properly, it's your most used ruler? I have had it for years and years, and I'll have to look at the video. I'm interested in that. I like being efficient, and if it's efficient and accurate, I'm all over it. Now, what did you do here? That is not correct. Look what happened. See that? What happened there? That ain't right. Oh, my word. What is going on? All right, let's do this again, shall we? How did that happen? Don't let that go. If that happens to you, don't let it go. Take a look at it, repress it, figure it out, figure out what happened. It'll make your block all wonky if you don't fix it. All right, that's better. Jeez. Okay. Open this up, get it trimmed. Who knows? I might be a convert on 2 different kinds of rulers today, the folded corner clipper and the stripology. Okay. Now the other side. This morning I showed a little thing I made, a little Designs by Juju embroidered birth announcement I made for my dentist. Actually, my dentist's little girl. She had a little girl almost a year ago. I just love my dentist. She's so good. And so I made it for her. And her middle name is B-E-E, not B-E-A. So I did, Juju has a, you know, it looks like a honeybee birth announcement. It's a little wall hanging. I'll show you guys. What did I do with it? I think it's over on the table. Oh, it's over there on the ironing board. And then Winnie the Pooh, the copyright or the trademark or whatever it is, on some old original Winnie the Pooh drawings, like ran out, and Juju has turned them into embroidery designs. So you've got some Winnie the Pooh. So I took a super cute little, you know, the Winnie the Pooh with his head stuck in the honey pot. So cute, little bees buzzing around. It's adorable. I love it. I'll put that on there too. I go for my appointment on Thursday, so I wanted to make sure to have it done. Okay. All right, Celia, I hear you. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to have to look it up and use it for more than I thought it was for. You know, that's one of those things. You want to take a screenshot of the baby sampler? Okay. I think I can reach it from here. I think I can. Yeah. Let me back up where you can see it. Yeah, turned out super cute. Now the colors I took from Juju, this is what their mock-up looked like on their colors. But so I put the poo with the bees down below and the honey. So cute. Oh my goodness. It's adorable. This font is something I had. I don't know. It's not a Juju font. That's something I had. I just thought that was adorable. So cute. Oh my goodness. Can you stand it? I love machine embroidery for that. I thought about making her a little bunny lovey too. I'd have to go digging in my stash for, oh good, OESD is coming out with some Pooh stuff in May. Y'all, I love Winnie the Pooh. I always have. It's been one of my favorite. And I'd have it around here, but you know, I do love it. And don't you know, I've never made a single Pooh design out of my brother machines. Never have. Not a single one. They've got plenty of Pooh and Piglet in there. Oh, it's funny. I had a guy that I worked with who became a grandpa, and he wanted me to make this. I made 2 of these for both of his grandsons. The first one was a surprise, and the second one, I brought it into work and gave it to him, and he was like, you know, he just says, I love that. And so when he had the second grandchild, he asked me, would you make me another one? And I think the first one was the airplanes, and the second one was like the moose. Yeah, 2024 is the right year of birth. Yeah, she's almost a year old. She'll turn a year this week. Well, I don't see my dentist very often. Oh, cute, Barb. I'm an Eeyore fan too. I had a Eeyore head cover for a driver in my golf bag for years. Yeah. I do love me some Pooh. Just cute. It just makes me feel good. Makes me happy. Okay. So I love when I saw that. And then you can't tell in the background quilting on that thing because you just can't see it. But Winnie the Pooh, it's a little bear with the balloon as the background quilting on that. I merged all kind of designs. So the shape of that bee birth announcement is actually square. And when I have another Designs by Juju, it's her wall hanging and desk sets, it's called. And it has this shape with the rounded bottom. And so I grabbed that and merged it into, or anyway, I merged them all together. So the birth announcement is one design. The shape of the outline is another design. It has an envelope back. And then the Pooh is another design. So, love it. All right, I've got my flying geese. And I have a big mess right here. What's going on with this? All right, now what are we doing? Okay. I'm going to take these. We got to lay this all out, y'all. And I want to lay it out properly so I don't get it backwards and turned around. This is really important when you're doing these things. Can y'all see? Yes. Okay, this goes in the center. And the white goes to the outside on my half square triangles. We got a 9 patch to put together here. Okay. And then white to the outside as well on the flying geese. Pay attention to that. Isn't that pretty? I love it. All right, so I'm going to sew this column to this column and then add these on. Let's just That's just the way I do it. You can do whatever you like. I like that we're not having to match diagonal seams on the points. This has seen better days. Where's my trash can? Okay. Now I do need to hit this point right here, that 1/4 inch seam right there. So I'm going to sew with that one on top. Don't sew blind. And because I've got bias on the square and a square, I'm going to use pins. And make sure that everything matches up just perfect. Okay, and I'm going to pin. Now when I pin in the middle on this, okay, when I pin in the middle, I'm sewing from top to bottom. So I am going to pin below where the point is. Instead of pinning in front of it, I'm going to pin behind it. That just works better to keep fabric from bunching up over a bulky seam where those points meet. I need to stitch right where those thread lines cross, right there, and not tip the point. Okay, the next one here. Let's see how we did. Perfect. Yay. Love that. Okay, now I'm going to sew this other one on. And again, I don't want to sew blind, so I'm going to sew with this side on top. Just make sure the orientation of your block is correct. Gray Rooster has some ruler racks. Oh, awesome. I'm going to put my son out of business. My son just hasn't been able to produce them. He's at a point right now. So my son is a pastor in Colorado Springs, and he makes the ruler racks that's right behind me up here, and we sell them on our store site. Y'all, he just finished his PhD. He's going to walk on May 11th. Very proud in pastoral ministries. But he just has not had time. And his church is growing so rapidly. And he said, Mom, I'm at a point where he's at about consistently at about 100 every Sunday. And he says, until I get to 150 consistently every Sunday, I can't afford to pay an associate pastor. So he's in a spot where he's doing all of the counseling, you know, all of the visitations, all of that, the funerals, all the weddings, all the, it's crazy. So, and they are looking for a new building. Again, the building that they're in, they want the people who own it want to sell, and they don't have the money to buy a new one. They don't have the money to buy it yet. So they're looking at partnering with other churches of the same doctrine. What a business, my goodness. All right, this is looking really good. 1/4 inch seams are looking nice, right? So my, I'm going to press odd rows to the center, and I'm going to press even rows, the center row out. What I'm going to do, you can do it either way, do it whatever makes you happy. Okay, this should be 12 and a half, right? This is annoying. This dog ear is driving me crazy. Okay. Should be 12 and a half. What is it? It is 12 and a half. Good. All right. Okay. Did you guys have a good Easter? We did. We stayed home. So, oh, they got an old theater building. That's very cool for a church. That's very neat. All right. This one is off. So it's even on the top, but it's off on the bottom. See that? That's weird. I don't know that I'm going to fix that. I think that I can make do. I'm pretty sure I can. Since that's in the seam allowance, I think I can make it work. Let me check my measurements. Okay. The seam allowance is a good 1/4 inch. It's that other one is a little bit short. So I've got a 1/4 of an inch right here. So I'm going to make that work and I'll just keep an eye on that. Okay. Yeah, it'll catch in the seam. Yeah. When that happens, you guys don't freak out. It's fine. You can make it work. Okay. So I did a pre-recorded video yesterday of me completing the prairie flower block for Prairie Home from Lori Holt, the Fat Quarter Shop sampler quilt that they're doing. And I think I'm going to release those videos that I'm doing. And again, I'm not going to do any editing on them at all. They're going to be unedited. So if I make boo-boos and have to fix it, I'm just going to go through the whole thing. But that way you guys have something to watch while I'm on the cruise. I'm going to be on back-to-back sew and sail cruises from the 24th of May through the 8th of June. And while I'm on the cruise, that way I'll have it release a video a day. So, all right, let me make sure that these are 12 and a half. And they are. Good. Awesome. All right. So now I'm just going to sew my rows together. Okay. And let's see. Okay, I've got points I have to match. This one can be a real bear. So I'm going to take a pin, okay, and I'm going to come out at the tip of the point right there in that seam, and I'm going to mark it so that I can see exactly where I need to hit on both of these. That will help you, because one of the things about this block is as you put it all together, there's actually another square and a square. And if you miss that, that'll give you problems. Okay, so now I'm going to take my pin and I'm going to put it in on that mark right at the tip of that, where that point is. And I'm going to put it right in at the point of this one. And I'm going to nest up my seams nice and tightly together. Okay. Hold my pins so it's horizontal, right? That doesn't feel right. There. That's better. In one side of the seam allowance and out the other. And hopefully that one matched. I don't know. Let me peek. Let me peek on this. There we go. That's that one that was a little bit short. Was that it? No. I think that's going to work. I think it is. Match these points. I just got to peek in there and then shove those seams up right next to each other. Okay. We'll cross our fingers and see how it goes. Okay. I need to hit this seam point right there. So I'm marking the middle. I pinned it in from the back on that point right there. Mark the middle. I'm going to make a mark on the front of the fabric. And before I pull the pin, I'm going to pin it so it doesn't shift. And I pinned it after. So I'm driving this way. I pinned it after where the point is. Okay. This is really easy to mess up. Really easy. Matter of fact, I think on previous videos, this took me a time or two to get it right, if I remember correctly. Always pin your ends. That's going to keep your block square. Let's see. So I got the middle one right, and I don't know. I'm going to have to. Look at that. Let me see here. Okay. I think it'll work. What you're looking for on this is a straight line from here to here and here to here. You're looking for that straight line. So if that's wonky and off, you're going to want to take it apart and do it again. Okay. Let me peek at these points. Sometimes you don't have to draw it. Sometimes you can just use your 1/4 inch foot and cross your fingers. If your seam allowances are accurate, it should work. Perfect. Yeah. It worked. I'm not marking them now. I'm just gonna, well, I am gonna mark that middle one right on it. Whoop. Because I don't want to miss that on the center. And then pin it before I pull the pin. Okay. Let's see. We'll see. I did not mark these on my, where my blocks meet, on my nests. Use my knee lift there because my little seam allowance was flipping back toward me. This one's way off. I got to fix it. So I got the center one and this one correct. There's that one's right. And the center is correct. And this one, it's off. And it's off because it's not nested. Well, it did nest properly. Yeah. I don't like that. I'm going to undo it and fix it. Yep. I got 3 corners correct. See that? So I'm going to fix this corner right here. This is off. And all I'm going to do is take apart a little bit of it. I'm not going to undo the whole seam, just a little bit of it. Give it another shot. Poke in there. All right. So it's like oh, that's the one that had that little short seam allowance, y'all. Thank you for joining me, Diana. Oh, are you staying, Diana? Other folks are leaving? I'll be done here in a minute. That's that one that had that little short seam allowance. And all I do is cross over a few stitches of the seam that it went next to. Ah, that's better. Much better. Ta-da. There we go. Awesome. All right, you guys. So don't forget, when we get back, I leave for Indiana this coming Saturday. I'm going to be teaching up there. And then when I get back on May 1st, everything on my channel live, all my live streams shift an hour. So the situation room will be at 8 a.m. Central. And this will be at 10 a.m. Central for the next block here. So there we go. There's our Kaleidoscope block. It worked perfect. I love it. I'm very happy. This goes, let me look at my papers. What do I do with my papers? I think it's over there. Oh, here. I have them, don't I? Yeah. This block goes row 5, block 3. Okay. Thank you all. So this one goes right here. Coming together. Oh, that looks amazing. Very pretty. How about that? Isn't that beautiful? Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So one more to go next week, and then we will do sashings. And then after that, the week after that, I'll put it on the long arm and get it stitched up, and then we'll do the binding. So awesome. Thank you guys so much for spending your time with me. I appreciate it. I hope you're moving along on your Brightly sampler. Please give the video a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Everything's free. We don't have any channel memberships on this channel. So yeah, I'm excited about the time changes too, Janelle. So all of my folks out on the West Coast can catch me, and you folks on the East Coast will have a little bit more time after watching Pat Sloan, okay? All right, we will talk to you soon. See you next week. You guys go sew something. Bye.